Was this really just a simple mistake? Or are we looking at something much deeper and darker? Think about it for a second. Could the two biggest rivals in the history of Port Charles, Carly Spencer and Nina Reeves, actually be on the verge of a secret alliance? I know, it sounds totally wild. But the way things are going on General Hospital right now, we might be heading toward a reality where Carly helps Nina silence Jack Brennan for good. It leaves the WSB agent with absolutely no way to expose the mountain of secrets they're both sitting on. This isn't just about a missed injection or a hospital stay anymore. We are talking about a massive shift in the power dynamics of this town. Some theories even suggest Jack Brennan could end up as a literal paralyzed prisoner in Carly's own attic. Let's really break down this accident because, honestly, it felt like it was bound to happen eventually. Nina Reeves is basically a woman living on the edge of a cliff right now. She's got this frantic, desperate energy that was always going to end in a disaster. During that crazy brawl between Valentine Cassadine and Jack Brennan, Nina tried to jump in with a syringe. It was the same paralytic drug that Willow has been using to keep Cain in a locked-in state. But instead of hitting Valentine like she probably intended, she accidentally jabbed Brennan. He collapsed right there on the floor. Now, why did this happen right now? If you look at it from a writing perspective, Nina is the ultimate chaos agent. She acts on pure impulse because she doesn't have the discipline that someone like Carly or Valentine has. You can see how terrified she is. She isn't just worried about Jack's health, she's worried about what's happening to her own soul. She's realizing that trying to protect her daughter, Willow, has turned her into the kind of person who stabs federal agents in living rooms. You could even argue that this accident was her subconscious trying to take control of a situation that has completely spiraled out of her hands. By silencing Brennan, she accidentally solves a huge problem for Valentine, even if she creates a new nightmare for herself. Personally, I think Nina is way more dangerous when she's panicking than when she's actually plotting something. A cornered animal strikes without thinking, and Jack Brennan just became the victim of Nina's survival instinct. But then you've got Carly, and she's in an impossible spot. She's a mother who's basically in mourning for a daughter who isn't even dead. Jocelyn is missing, and Carly knows Brennan was the one pulling the strings and manipulating her. When Valentine goes back to Carly's place to tell her that Brennan collapsed and can't move or speak, Carly actually feels bad for him at first. She's a human being, right? But Valentine is such a pragmatist. He shuts that sympathy down immediately. He reminds her that if she wants to find Jocelyn, there can be no happy ending for Jack. Carly's whole identity is tied to being a protector. If helping Nina keep Brennan on ice is the only way to get her daughter back, do you really think she won't do it? She'll push down her hatred for Nina because her maternal drive is the strongest thing about her. It's a fascinating parallel, isn't it? Both Nina and Carly are now covering up crimes in the name of their daughters. They're becoming mirrors of each other, which is probably the ultimate insult to both of them. I actually disagree with Carly's initial sympathy for Brennan. He manipulated Jocelyn into the WSB and turned her into a target. Carly should be the one holding the needle. The fact that she even hesitated shows she still has a moral compass that Valentine is trying to break down for the sake of the mission. And then there's that attic theory that everyone is talking about. Spoilers suggest Valentine won't let Brennan stay at General Hospital for long.
Why?
Because Elizabeth Baldwin is already playing detective. She's already noticed that it's a strange coincidence that two healthy men had strokes in the exact same house just a few months apart. If Brennan stays at the hospital, the truth is going to come out. So, where do you hide a paralyzed WSB agent? The rumor is that Valentine will stash Jack in Carly's attic. Just imagine that drama for a second. Carly Spencer, the town's heroine, having a federal agent drugged and imprisoned right above her head. Talk about a hidden sin. The attic is where we put things we want to forget, and by putting Brennan there, they're literally trying to bury their problems in the house itself. It moves the story from a medical drama to a psychological thriller. Every time Carly walks up those stairs, she'll be reminded that she is now an accomplice to Nina Reeves. It's a brilliant way to force these two into the same orbit without them ever having to like each other. There's a big grilling session coming up on Thursday where Carly demands Nina's side of the story. They might start out as enemies in that room, but I bet it ends with a very dark understanding. Carly will realize that if Nina goes down for what she did to Brennan, the search for Jocelyn might hit a total dead end. Nina is terrified, and when Carly starts questioning her, she's probably going to break down. That vulnerability might be the one thing that gets Carly to stop yelling and start planning. I think Carly will see that Nina is a total liability if she's left on her own. By helping Nina hide the truth, Carly is actually taking charge. It's not about being friends, it's about managing a mess. Helping Nina silence Brennan gives Carly a sense of power in a situation where she's felt completely helpless. We also can't ignore the person who provided the silencer in the first place, Willow Cain. Nina might have done the physical stabbing, but sources say Willow is the one who methodically and cunningly planned the whole thing to keep Drew paralyzed. She even used Nina's fingerprints on a syringe to blackmail her own mother into helping her. Willow has completely detached from that sweet girl we used to know. She looks at Drew and Brennan like obstacles to be managed, not people. She's the one who is going to push Nina and Carly to keep Brennan quiet. She needs them out of the way so she can keep treating Drew without anyone poking around. I am honestly loving this Dark Willow arc. It's about time she showed some of that Nina Reeves DNA. Seeing her act as the puppet master for both her mom and Carly is such a great twist. But while they're all playing prison warden, Elizabeth Baldwin is proving she might be the smartest person in Port Charles. She's suspicious, she's noticed the patterns, and she's already putting the pieces together. Elizabeth is the ticking time bomb here. If she figures it out, the whole thing falls apart. I predict she'll be the one to find Brennan, if he's in that attic. Imagine that confrontation. The nurse who dedicated her life to healing, finding her friends, keeping a man drugged in a crawl space. She's going to be in an impossible position. Does she report a crime and send her friends to jail, or does she stay silent and break her oath? That kind of conflict is exactly what makes soaps great. Then you have the political side of this. Brennan being silenced means Ross Cullum is now running the WSB in Port Charles. Valentine already warned Carly that this is going to make everything much worse. By helping Nina silence Brennan, they are accidentally handing power to a guy who might be even more dangerous. It's the classic lesser of two evils trap. They know how to handle Brennan, but Cullum is a total wild card. I suspect Valentine is playing a much deeper game than he's letting on. He might want Brennan out of the way not just to protect Nina, but to make sure he's the only one who can talk to the WSB. He's using Carly's desperation to keep her in line while he reshapes the whole criminal landscape of the city. The most terrifying part of this whole silencing plan is the clock. Brennan was given a weekly dose. That means in 7 days, he might start moving his fingers. He might try to speak. As the week ends, the tension is going to be through the roof. Carly and Nina will have to decide if they're going to give him another dose. This is the point of no return. One injection can be called an accident, but a second one? That's a deliberate act of torture. This is where their partnership will either stick together or shatter. Carly has a limit, but Nina, who's fueled by pure terror, might be willing to go way further. We could see a situation where Nina tries to keep Brennan drugged forever, and Carly has to decide if she's going to stop her or help her hold the needle. At its heart, this story is about watching morality fall apart. Nina has already crossed that line. Willow has completely erased it, and Carly is standing right on the edge, looking down. There's a weird kind of intimacy in sharing a secret this dark. Carly and Nina are never going to be best friends, but they're becoming bonded in a way that's more permanent than friendship. They are bonded by knowing exactly what they're capable of when they get desperate. This isn't just about Brennan. It's about what these women will sacrifice of themselves to protect their families. It's the most interesting Carly has been in years because she's being forced to work with her nemesis, not because she's forgiven her, but because she's compromised. It takes away her moral high ground and puts her right in the mud with everyone else. But soaps always demand a reckoning eventually. My big prediction? Brennan is going to regain his speech just as Carly thinks she's finally found Jocelyn. He's going to reveal not just Nina's mistake, but the fact that Carly helped keep him hidden. That's going to blow back on everything: her relationship with Sonny, her standing in the town, and her relationship with her kids. The fallout is going to last for years. If people find out Carly helped Nina hide a federal agent, her moral high ground is gone forever. It levels the playing field in a way that will change the show's dynamic for good. Is this really just a string of tragic medical accidents, or are we looking at the most cold-blooded cover-up Port Charles has ever seen? Seriously, think about that for a second. We've all seen some wild things in this town, but what's happening right now at the Cain House is on a whole different level. And the funny thing is, the one person who can actually blow this whole thing wide open isn't a private investigator or a mob boss. It's Elizabeth Baldwin. She's a nurse who has seen everything, and right now, her internal alarm bells are screaming. If you're Nina Reeves or Willow Cain, you should be very, very worried. Because Elizabeth isn't just suspicious, she's starting to connect that are incredibly dangerous for everyone involved. Let's look at the mess Elizabeth is walking into. It all started with that absolute disaster of a cliffhanger where Jack Brennan collapsed. Now, we know the truth. We saw it. Nina was in the middle of this huge, frantic brawl between Valentine Cassadine and Brennan. She was panicking, she saw a weapon, and she grabbed the first thing she could find. It just happened to be a syringe filled with the same paralytic drug Willow has been using to keep Drew Cain locked in. Nina wasn't even trying to hit Brennan. She was actually trying to stop Valentine. But in all that chaos, she jabbed the wrong guy. Brennan went down instantly, and just like that, the secret drugging plot turned into a multi-victim crime scene. You have to wonder, what is going through Nina's head right now? When you listen to how Cynthia Watros describes these scenes, it's clear Nina is totally unraveling. She isn't some master criminal. She's a mother who is desperately trying to protect her daughter, but she's doing it in the clumsiest way possible. She's terrified. She's thinking about Willow first, but then she's thinking about herself and the fact that she just paralyzed a federal agent. Psychologically, she's in survival mode, but she's failing. She's so high stress that she actually forgot to give Drew his scheduled dose while she was busy following Brennan's ambulance to the hospital. That one little slip-up is what gave Drew enough strength to start moving his fingers again. But back to Elizabeth. This is where it gets really interesting. When Brennan gets to General Hospital, Elizabeth is the one who has to deal with the fallout. She's asking Nina the basic questions. How did he fall? What happened right before? And Nina is just standing there, probably looking like she's seen a ghost, giving these vague, shaky answers. She tells Elizabeth that they were just talking, and he suddenly dropped. But Elizabeth Baldwin is way too smart for that. She's been a nurse for a long time. She knows what a stroke looks like, and she knows when a story doesn't add up. The most telling moment was when Elizabeth pulled Lucas Jones aside. She basically said what we were all thinking. She called it a strange coincidence. Think about the odds. You have two healthy, middle-aged men. Both of them suffer these massive, paralyzing medical crises. And they both happen in the exact same house, only 3 months apart. Elizabeth knows that doesn't happen in the real world. She told Lucas the odds were extremely low. That's medical speak for someone is lying to me. You can see her connecting the dots right there in the hallway of GH. She's not just a nurse anymore. She's effectively the only person in Port Charles with their eyes wide open. And why is Elizabeth the one to catch this? Well, look at her history. She's always been the moral anchor. Even when she's had her own drama, she has this deep sense of duty. But she's also been primed to look for patterns lately. Remember how she figured out it was Rocco who shot Ross Cullum? She noticed the injury on his hand, a slide bite from a gun, and she didn't just ignore it. She realized Jason Morgan was taking the fall for a kid. So, her detective brain is already warmed up. She's looking at Nina and Willow, and she's seeing the same kind of shifty behavior she saw with the shooting cover-up. Now, let's talk about Willow for a second, because this is where the story gets really dark. While Nina is a nervous wreck, Willow is becoming something else entirely. There's this theory that Willow is the real villain here, and honestly, it's hard to disagree. She didn't just accidentally get into this. She methodically and cunningly planned the whole thing. She's the one who wanted Drew out of the way. She's the one who used her own mother's fingerprints on a syringe to blackmail her. That is cold. When she walked in and saw Drew trying to reach for that phone, she didn't look like a concerned wife. She looked like a prison warden. She scolded him. She told him nobody could be trusted to watch him but her. It was chilling. I think we're seeing Dark Willow finally come to the surface. It's like she's finally tapping into that Nina Reeves DNA, but she's doing it with a level of calculation that even Nina doesn't have. She's detached. She's viewing Drew as a problem to be solved, not a human being she loves. And that's what makes her so dangerous to Elizabeth. If Elizabeth keeps digging, she isn't just going to find a panicked Nina. She's going to find a very determined, very dangerous Willow. Do you think Willow would hesitate to silence Elizabeth if she had to? That's the kind of tension that makes this storyline so high stakes. And then you have Carly Spencer. Carly is in a totally different orbit, but she's about to collide with this mess. She's mourning the fact that Jocelyn is missing, and she knows Brennan is the key to finding her. But now Brennan is in the ICU, unable to speak. Valentine is the one who had to break the news to her. He's basically telling her, look, if you want your daughter back, Brennan can't have a happy ending. It's an impossible choice. Carly has to decide if she's going to help keep a man silenced just to save her own child. The psychological layers here are just incredible. Carly and Nina are usually at each other's throats, but now they might have a common goal. They both need Brennan to stay quiet for different reasons. There's even that wild theory that Valentine might stash a paralyzed Brennan in Carly's attic. Can you imagine that? A federal agent being kept as a prisoner in the most famous house in Port Charles. It sounds crazy, but in the world of General Hospital, it's the perfect way to force Carly and Nina into a dark, twisted alliance. They'd be bonded by this secret forever. But Elizabeth is the wild card in all of this. She's already talking to Lucas, and we know from the spoilers that she's going to open up to Dante on Friday. This is huge. Dante is the acting police commissioner. He's already falling apart because he just found out his own son shot Cullum, and his best friend, Jason, is in a WSB hole because of it. He is looking for a win. He's looking for justice. If Elizabeth goes to him and says, hey, I think Drew and Brennan were drugged in that house, Dante is going to go full force. He won't care if it's Nina or Willow. He's at a breaking point. The emotional insight here is that Elizabeth is probably feeling very lonely in her suspicion. She's looking around at her friends and seeing people she's supposed to trust, but she knows they're lying. It puts her in a terrible position. Does she stay loyal to the Port Charles family, or does she follow her medical oath? I personally think she's going to choose the truth. She's seen too much damage caused by secrets lately, especially with the Rocco situation. She knows that when people hide things, kids get hurt, and innocent people go to jail. If you loved this deep dive into the dark side of Port Charles, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got more General Hospital spoilers and psychological breakdowns coming your way every single day. Don't forget to like the video if you're ready for the Carly and Nina attic showdown, and drop a comment below with your wildest theories on how Jack Brennan finally gets his revenge. We'll see you in the next one.